Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Vicky Hudson, and I'm a Landscape Conservation Intelligence Manager for CapeNature in Landscape South. Today I'm going to tell you the tale of a frog and two dogs. Rose's mountain toadlet is a very small amphibian which is known from only two breeding sites within the Table Mountain National Park complex in Cape Town, South Africa. This species is critically endangered due to a decline in the number of breeding sites since the 1980s. Declines are enigmatic as there have been no obvious habitat loss, but may be linked to a lack of fire or other disturbance to keep the fynbos vegetation open. The species population is considered to be severely fragmented, as the only two breeding sites are separated by 22 kilometers, and a genetic study showed that no mitochondrial haplotypes were shared between them. Adults congregate to breed in temporary pools from late July to early September, where they lay around 100 eggs in strings of jelly. Breeding takes place in temperate shallow pools of between 1 to 2 centimeters in depth, with muddy bottoms and no overhanging or encroaching vegetation. Pools contain tens to hundreds of tadpoles. Because the species does not have an advertisement call, locating breeding sites using auditory signals is not possible. Breeding sites must be located visually, which is challenging given that breeding occurs in small ephemeral pools in thick fynbos vegetation, and because these frogs are small and cryptic. For example, an adult male measures about 2 centimeters in length. Despite targeted searches during the breeding season annually since 2007, the missing historical breeding sites have not been relocated. Dogs can be a valuable tool in biodiversity conservation, including in, but not limited to, surveillance and monitoring, and have been used extensively for many years worldwide in protected species management, wildlife detection, law enforcement, recovery projects, and alien and invasive eradication projects. Over the past decade, CapeNature has demonstrated the effective and efficient use of dogs to survey cryptic and elusive species in the province, namely the critically endangered geometric tortoise. Detection dogs can be trained to detect multiple targets. Hence, when approached by Professor Crystal Tolley from the South African National Biodiversity Institute, CapeNature was able to partner on this proposal to assess whether trained conservation detection dogs could be used to add value to the monitoring of breeding pools at current and historic sites of Rose's mountain toadlet. Hence, a partnership was initiated and the team effort began. This toadlet is a good target species for scent detection because adults don't jump but only crawl, and they remain concentrated around the breeding pools during breeding season, providing an abundance of target individuals on which dogs can detect scent. Through a combined team effort between 2020 and the 2022 breeding seasons, two dogs, Bryn and Jamie, were trained to detect Capensa bufurosii toadlets and egg masses in a scent lineup and in the field, where various other amphibian species such as Cape stream frog, clicking stream frog, lightfoot's moss frog co-occur. This was a complex odor comprised of all life phases of the target species. The dogs, through exposure to in situ breeding areas, generalized from live toadlets to eggs in a breeding pool. During the 2022 breeding season, the dogs detected two new breeding pools that were concealed within taller vegetation and had been previously overlooked by humans. Due to the small size and mobility of the target species in the associated vegetation, in many cases the dog would identify an alert in an area, and then the handler would need to search within a 1 meter radius to pinpoint the exact source of the target. If a dog shows no behavior characteristic of being in the presence of target scent, that would suggest a low likelihood of Capensa bufurosii, thus corroborating absences at historic sites. Given our results during 2020, detection dogs could add significant value to improve the knowledge of this critically endangered amphibian by relocating historic sites. Dogs will be deployed during the 2023 breeding season at some of the historic breeding sites where breeding has not been observed since the 1980s. In order to give you an idea of what this fieldwork looks like, I will now play a short video. In closing, I would like to acknowledge and thank Professor Crystal Tolley and Nick Telford from SANBI for thinking out the box and enabling this opportunity, to Amy Hurt and Working Dogs for Conservation for their guidance, support and partnership on this project and over the last decade, to SANParks for allowing the use of working dogs on their protected areas, funding and logistics provided for by SANBI and CapeNature, and Pack Leader Pet Products for fueling the noses. Photo and video credits as stated below. Thank you for watching this case study illustrating a low-tech innovation in conservation. Goodbye.